Hi, I'm Roger from Evannex. Today we're going to talk about the installation of a front license plate bracket. This bracket is required in any state that by law requires a front license plate for your Model S. The bracket will allow you to attach the license plate with no problem whatsoever. The front license plate bracket comes in 5 simple pieces. First, a bracket attachment mechanism that slips into the air dam grill, the top air dam grill. The second is the bracket itself, 2 simple screws, and a little Allen wrench tool that allow you to do the installation. The installation itself shouldn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes. Let's talk about installing the front license plate bracket. The first thing we need to do is simply disassemble the unit as it comes shipped, and that means taking these little bolts out and disassembling the unit as such. We can put everything down with the exception of this little bracket, which we are going to slide into the top part of the air dam. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But first, we need to be sure that we center this bracket. Luckily, the Model S gives us a perfect center point, the bottom of the T. So we simply track that center point down, find the appropriate center, and when we install this bracket, we be sure that it's centered on the T. We're now ready to install the attachment plate. Again, we have to recognize that we want to center it. This column centers nicely. So we place the plate in, slide it through the appropriate parts of the top air dam grill, and then we simply rotate it downward like that. You'll note that there are 2 pre-threaded screw holes that we're going to use to attach the actual bracket itself. Now that the attachment plate is in place, we need to line up the screw hole so that we can screw in the bracket. A simple little trick to help you do that is to take this end of the Allen wrench and simply slide it in under the bracket. We'll do one side at a time, and I'll demonstrate how to do one side and then we'll do them both. We have the screw hole readily visible, okay, so that we can place our screw into it with no problem. We now take the bracket, slide it in, line it up with the screw hole, and with fingers, just begin the screw in process. We don't need to finish it, but we do need to at least start it. Now that we've hand tightened the screw, we can use our Allen wrench to fully tighten it. So we simply stick it in and keep screwing until it fully tightens. And you sometimes have to go a reasonable way before it does, but you can feel it starting to tighten. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side and effectively fully lock the screw. You don't have to over tighten, by the way. This is fine. Again, on the other side, we simply screw in by hand to get it started. Once we've screwed in by hand, we then pull the Allen wrench, attach it into the screw, and tighten as we go until it is fully tightened. The end result is a license plate bracket firmly attached on both the driver and passenger side. The next thing we need to do is to unscrew these small Allen bolts and attach our license plate. So let's do that next. Installing the license plate once the bracket has been fastened is really quite simple. We have 2 options. We can use the top screw holes, having the license plate fall low on the car, or the bottom screw holes, having the license plate fall higher. In general, we want to use the bottom 2 screw holes. The reason for this is that on newer versions of Model S, we have forward-looking radar sitting here, and we don't want to have the license plate block that in any way. So we're going to install using the bottom 2 screw holes. Be very aware of that. In order to do this, we simply take the license plate and the appropriate screws and screw them right into the available holes. We can do this by hand, at least hand tighten. Do both screw holes as you see here. Once we hand tighten, we want to close down the lock washers that sit behind the screws so that in fact we have a tight fit. So we just screw them down. You don't have to over tighten. And once we get that, our license plate is fully installed.